Hello, everybody, and welcome to the D-Pad. I'm Rick, and this is our latest episode of the D-List. This is actually one that I've wanted to do for many years now, and I figured what with us getting a new Pokemon game that is a remake as opposed to a brand new title, and the simultaneous announcement of kind of a prequel game to the same generation of Pokemon that this remake is from, but with different starters for reasons, I figured this would be as good a time as any. So welcome to Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl Day, where I have made a list for the D-List. If you're new to the D-List, I like coming up with little listy, ranky sort of things, but there's always some kind of catch. We've done Christmas movies that aren't about Christmas. We've done the best items in Zelda that do not appear on the N64. That was actually a pretty fun one. And I think here we've got a good opportunity with this one as well. Tonk says hi. Anyway, today is complete chaos. If I sound a little bit lower or a little softer, a little sultrier or gravelier than I usually do, it's because I was that sexy all along. Also, not feeling very well. I'm supposed to be like on my way to a wedding, but we're not going because neither of us feel great. I'm drinking a whole bunch of OJ. You will definitely not be able to see, but this is actually like a frosted glass with an Ivysaur on it. You can expect that we'll probably be hearing from Ivysaur at some point because our list today is the top 10 Pokemon starters as ranked by their middle evolutions design. I don't think it's any big secret that, generally speaking, middle evolutions of a lot of Pokemon, but especially starters, have kind of a rocky history. Some are bigger hits than others, and some really keep me lying awake at night. But I figured there's 24 starters. We're not going to be seeing new starters for at least another year or two. So why not take a second and rank them? We'll do ourselves a little top 10 kind of thing. Now, to be clear, we are only doing the starters from the core titles of the Pokemon franchise. Strictly speaking, we're not looking at any remakes. Not that it really matters, with the exception of Eevee. But we're not doing Pokemon Yellow. We're not doing Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu, Let's Go, Eevee. So Pikachu and Eevee are not on the list. We're not doing any of the side games. So like Rattata and all of them, those aren't in there either. We are strictly keeping to the 3 starters for the core games of each of the 8 generations of Pokemon. And I think that's all the explanation this really needs. If you're here and you don't know what I'm talking about, then I cannot help you. I think you may need to watch a video or two about Pokemon and what it is. But it's literally the biggest media franchise humanity has ever created. So probably you know what I'm talking about. So let's dive in. We're going to dive in with our number 10 right off the bat is Piplup from Diamond and Pearl. Piplup I really like. I think is a very cute little... I'm not going to intentionally be going with like gendered terms for the Pokemon, but some of them seem more he-ish and she-ish. Is that bad? I shouldn't do that. I will alternate throughout this entire thing. He and then she, and maybe I'll throw in a couple theys. But yeah, Piplup from Diamond and Pearl, just a good little dude. I don't know. It's some of these descriptions. This is being done without a script. I don't know if you could tell that. If you could tell that this is a little more off the cuff than some of the things I've done. Usually the D-List is off script anyway, but I don't know. We're going strictly by design too, so I don't want to be hearing anybody talking about but Flash Cannon is good, and therefore I have no idea if Piplup ever learns Flash Cannon, so not important. But Piplup just looks like, I don't know, just a pudgy little happy Prince Butler looking dude. I like the little white button things going on there. Pulls off the Butler look a little, pulls off the just like nice and dapper look a little better than some other Pokemon who are hypothetically eligible to be in this list. But Piplup, I think, is a pretty cool job there, and a nice, continuation, a nice smooth flow between Piplup and Empoleon, and I don't know, I really like it. I dig the little crown, they're like almost horns. I guess they're horns, right? I don't know what they could really be otherwise. I'm struggling to think of animals that have horns that aren't like spikes, but are just kind of like calcified things going on there, you know? Like, you think of like a ram's horns or something, and they're going to be like big and they have the spike in the end. Like, they are a spike, but I don't know. Piplup, pretty cool. I'm a fan. I think Piplup does it pretty well. Our number 9 is kind of an interesting one because I wasn't sure how to delineate it from another Pokemon. I think it's fine. I think it's a little bit more creative in some ways than Piplup was. My number 9 is Monferno, who is also from Gen 4, from Diamond and Pearl, the evolution of Chimchar. I really kind of like it. The colors are fun, are fun to play with, and it kind of Chimchar or Monferno always strikes me as a Pokemon that's more into like rascally kind of fun as opposed to just being like an asshole, like certain other similar Pokemon might be. At the end of the day, it is kind of just a bigger Chimchar with some slightly more adolescent design added into it. But I think it's pretty cool. I think the colors are like, they pop really nicely together. Monferno's got mostly orange going on, but there's the tail that kind of goes from the red to the yellow. You've got the facial features that have the kind of, I was going to say gibbon, but like more of like a mandrill kind of a thing with the blue and the red with the face. And it's just kind of a good look. I think it's a solid look. Pokemon don't have to be super busy to be a good design. And I think this one does pretty well. So Monferno is our number 9. Now, number 8 is, it's interesting because like you have things you like about certain Pokemon and things that you're not a big fan of, and you have to kind of grade those accordingly. Like, it's not like one Pokemon is better because it's just better in every way than something that's further on the list, and it's not lower because it's worse than a Pokemon in every way. But there's some ways in which it's more about like the feel of the whole thing, the kind of I don't know, the evocative nature of middle evolution Pokemon. Yeah, that was just, I don't know. You feel it. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so my number 8 is actually Charmeleon from Red and Blue, obviously. And it was hard to distinguish Charmeleon from Monferno, and I think they could realistically be borderline tied on this list. I think the real, because again, you've got kind of a really basic kind of color. The blue eyes are actually a really nice touch in there. It gives it kind of a cool counterpart to all like the warm tones that are going on in them. Otherwise, it's just such a classic design, and like Charmeleon is a kind of a dinosaurish design, a lizard dinosaur kind of design that you don't see all that often. I feel like everybody like Charmander is not that uncommon of a design, kind of a silly round-headed little lizard boy. And then Charizard is a pretty classic, like just dragon, like almost straight up medieval dragon looking creature. Charmeleon's kind of, it does a decent job of giving you an in-between, even though he's got one horn and then Charizard has 2, so that's gotta be painful. That's not gonna be a fun time. I think the biggest distinction here between Charmeleon and Monferno is that Monferno feels like Charmeleon again. Like, it's just a bigger, slightly meaner version of the previous evolution. So Charmeleon's got his kind of white claws that sort of stick out from a kind of a nubbin hand. And then if you look at Monferno also has like skin tone fingers coming out of a nubbin arm. Like, it's that same kind of, it looks like a stuffle that someone put a bunch of like old hot dogs on. It's not necessarily bad, but Charmeleon kind of did it first, and so it does feel a little bit like, you know, treading the same ground again. So I have to at least give Charmeleon credit for getting to that design choice first. They even have the tail on fire together, which is kind of, I think for Charmander and its evolutions, it's a more iconic design choice as opposed to Monferno, where it's less like, if you think Pokemon with its tail on fire, you're probably going to think of one of the Charmander evolutions first before you start thinking of Chimchar's evolutions. So I think that's kind of where I put that. Charmeleon at number 8. And it's my list, so if you're mad about it, you can make your own. That's pretty cool how you can do that also. And yeah, this list is entirely my opinions. I haven't crowdsourced any opposing opinions. Other opinions? Agreeing opinions? I guess that's possible, but unlikely from the rest of the team. So this one's just me. So feel free to get mad at me, and I won't read those comments. Okay, so we're up to number 7, and we are now reaching the top of what I called, what did I call it? Good class? Good stuff. I called it good stuff. These are the ones that are like pretty decent design. They're not like blow you away, but they're like, yeah, okay, all right, I can get behind that. And so my number 7 pick, I think this one might be a little controversial. I feel like some people don't like this one as much as the others, but it's my list, so I don't care. My number 7 is Grottle, probably, right? Like Grotto Turtle. Yeah, Grottle. I actually really kind of dig this design. It's super dorky. It reminds me of, I was going to say Aquilamon. Anguillamon? Oh boy, one of the armor digivolutions looks a little like this. It might be Anguillamon or something. I don't remember. But our first grass type here in this top 10. I kind of dig it. It's part of what I like about it is that it is so different from most of the rest. Similar to Charmeleon and Monferno, this does feel slightly like it's taking cues, maybe a little too much from Ivysaur going into Venusaur. But I think that, I don't know, Torterra really does a really good job of kind of following that through to a different place than Venusaur does. And in a similar way, I think Grottle does a pretty good job of it. Like the lines, the little brown kind of bits in there almost look like crop lines in their own way. And the bushes are super cute. I love the big elephant-like feet. There's kind of this gold armor thing going on here as well, in the same way as it was for Piplup, and I find that kind of interesting. And actually, yeah, we've now had all 3 of the Gen 4 Pokemon starter middle evolutions in the top 10, which is pretty cool. Good news for anybody grabbing Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, especially those who are expecting a remake of Diamond and Pearl. Yeah. But I don't know. I love a turtle. I think Grottle is a pretty cute design. And it does a good job of like not just being super basic. Like there's a couple complex things going on here, but it's not going like overboard with it. But yeah, so that's our number 7, and the top end of our good stuff category is Grottle. Okay, anyway, now we're into our top category. I've literally nabled. That's how it's working today. I've nabled it top tier. I didn't get super creative with my tier names. I probably could have, but the Pokemon meta already has enough of those anyway, and I don't understand. So I'll call this TU for top U. I don't know what that U ever stood for, but it's the top one. So that's cool. My number 6 is where we start getting into ones where I think the design choices really elevate some of these things. And I say that knowing that some of what's in this top tier don't quite do it as much. I'm working on another D-list video where after I came up with the order of things, I kind of realized that it all fell into these really neat categories in sequential order. Not that that was ever the plan, but it did. And I tried it here, and it didn't really. I'm not confident that this worked out that well. But I like this Pokemon, and I would consider it in the top tier of designs. And that's why my number 6 is Duat from Gen 5. Yeah, from Gen 5 Black and White, the evolution of Oshawott. Yeah, this one's really cool to me, partly because I think if I had to give out a prize for the most improved middle evolution, I think I'd give it to Duat, because Oshawott is fine, but a little basic, and I think Duat does a really good job of like going somewhere super different with the concept. There's a long way to go between Oshawott and, was it Samurott? Duat is kind of this interesting middle ground where it's like starting to cultivate some of those ideas and incorporate that into the Pokemon. And all 3 of these Pokemon have like really distinct feels to them. And that's kind of rare for a starter Pokemon. A lot of times either the middle evolution feels like just a teenage version of the first one, or sometimes it feels like the middle evolution is just kind of a warm-up for the final evolution. This is one where I think Duat really stands out nicely from its pre-evolution and its eventual evolution as well. I dig the kind of like the shells that are in there. I think it does a good job with like the blue and the black is kind of a fun color combo that you don't see all that often with our starters here. The little flipper feet are cute. I like the little blue sort of, there's a name for that? No, because I think it's supposed to be evocative of, I'm going to call it a skirt because I don't know what else to call it, but the open pants, I guess. The really flourishy open pants, not flourishy, just open pants. The umbrella pants. They're not hammer pants, they're umbrella pants of like samurai in media and stuff. And I think Duat does a really good job with that, and a nice little kind of serious expression on its face and all of those things. I think Duat does a really good job of being good. This is going to be a good video. I think this is going to be a good video. I'm going to get a lot of comments saying that, like, yeah, you nailed it. I couldn't even tell it was off script. You just went for it, and it was like, boom. I didn't write any segues. I probably should have written some segues. Even just some, like, basic ones to use for a little while. But it didn't, so this is where we are now. Anyway, moving on to number 5. We've now reached the top half of this list, and I do like this Pokemon a decent amount. I think there's a lot of cool ideas in the design. It's probably got some of the better just overall design choices that I liked. But it doesn't quite have the same like, I'd have a hard time picking this one out. That's not true. I don't know. It's not as distinctive, I guess, as some of the others in this list, but I do like how it comes together. Maybe that's, if you put together this Pokemon and like 7 off-brand, slightly not correct versions of it, I probably wouldn't figure it out too well. But my number 5 is Grovile, and I really just kind of like the design overall. It's kind of simple, but it really works the leaf aesthetic in there really nicely. Excuse me. The orange juice is really just getting to me. It's just like it's a pretty simple design, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't have any problems with the design. Is a good starting point. That was kind of the baseline for this top 10 list. Was like, if I have no problems with it, there's a decent chance it'll get in there, because I have a lot of problems with the lower ones. But Grovile, I don't know. I think it's got this nice kind of smug expression that not a ton of these middle evolutions have, and it's just sort of got this confidence going on that I really appreciate. I appreciate you, Grovile. And yeah, it's a different way. It's got almost like wings. It reminds me of oh no, I guess Archeops. Yeah, I guess Arcid and Archeops kind of have a similar, like, that sort of like bird dinosaur kind of look to it with the little leaf wings here. And I think that does kind of a cool job of like giving it some more personality, because otherwise without the leaves it would just be kind of an awkward bowling pin lizard. Is that a thing? Is a bowling pin lizard, is that real? Do I have to watch out for bowling pin lizards now? I wasn't really ready for that. Anyway, before we get to our number 4, I think it'd probably be worth pointing out some of the ones that didn't make it. And, you know, maybe there's reasons that folks might not have left these out of their own top 10 list, but these were kind of, I sort of had my mid-tier. Oh, hi, Tonk. Let's introduce you real quick. This is Tonk. Woo. Oh, goodness. She didn't like that. It's okay. She's got a little cat bed literally to the left of our recording thing here, so she's getting a little bit comfy. No, that's my OJ. You can't have that. This is a good look for the episode, right? Yeah, I'll just do this for a minute. Eventually she gets bored and she'll go, but she's just going to hang out for a minute. Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. But yeah, you might have some different feelings on a couple of these Pokemon that I left out. Now it has to stay in. But yeah, I had a couple Pokemon that I wanted to give special. Oh, she's slipping slightly. Oh no. I wanted to give a little special shout out to on our way through. In kind of a number 11 spot is Croconaw. I dig the design of looking kind of cavemanish. Oh boy. Okay, I think she's settled in. I kind of dig the caveman design of Croconaw, but like I can't get over how much it looks like a giant diaper. I told myself that I was gonna have to bring that up as part of this, and it still just makes me laugh looking at it. It looks like a big diaper. I gotta go get those. This video is gonna be really fun to edit. That's all that really needs to be said about Croconaw. My number 12 would be Torracat, who is fine, but just kind of very basic. Like it's just a bigger Litten, and an angrier Litten, and it doesn't feel as distinctive as ones like Monferno or Charmeleon, so it didn't really make sense to keep on my list. For that, Tog is still in front of me, so I'm trying to like very carefully pace my movement so as not to attract her attention, so that she wants to interrupt the shot with more pets, much as she's trying anyway. Okay, in the 13 spot, I put Cervine, which was difficult for me because I really like Snivy, and I think Serperior is pretty cool too, but Cervine just kind of looks odd, feels odd. It's got these leaf legs going on that really make me a little worried. And it just kind of got this sassy sort of like, yeah, I'm going to be cool later vibe going on that I'm not a big fan of. I always remember when my Snivy would evolve, it would be like a marathon running race to try to get it evolved to Serperior as fast as I could, just because Cervine just didn't ever look that appealing to me. It was just always just a ridiculous looking thing. And so that's why it's not like bad. It's just like, not my fave. And then last, on this kind of mid-tier that I've got here is Frogadier, in I guess the 14 slot, similar to Cervine. I really like Froakie. I really like Greninja. Frogadier just is so strange to me. There she goes. Like, I get that it's like a bubble scarf that I guess will become the tongue scarf later. It's just something feels off about it, and I can't really place it. And again, maybe it's just smug expressions that most of the time I'm not really big on. Like, I was cool with it with Grovile, but not so much here with Frogadier. I don't know. It doesn't really work for me the same way, I would have to say. And that's probably why this one wound up at 14. And surprise, we're actually going to continue. This isn't a top 10 list. It's a rank everything list. We're actually ranking all 24 of these middle evolution starters. And before we return to the top 4, we're going to walk through our bottom 10 because, man, Pokemon middle evolutions are a lot of fun to make fun of. So let's dive right in. Number 15, or the 10th worst, in my opinion, or least good, I guess. Middle evolutions, I've actually got Bayleaf. I was expecting Bayleaf to be way lower on my list. I am outspoken in my not enjoyment of Chikorita's like entire line. Chikorita looks like a little booger with legs, and all of its evolutions look like slightly bigger boogers with legs that took a trip through the Barney factory. But that said, I think Bayleaf has the best design of its evolution like chain. Chikorita looks ridiculous. Meganium, I think, is okay. It looks way too soft in a lot of ways for like a fully evolved Pokemon. Like, not all of them need to be like Murdermons or anything, but just like something about it is like, I expect when it opens its mouth, it's going to squeak like a dog chew toy. Like, it's going to make a little hee, like something like that, which is not a great starting point for some of these guys. But Bayleaf actually does okay. It looks unique. I really like the leaf with the little, chewed out bit on its head. I think it actually comes together kind of nicely, but it is still a little dull. Like, its main thing is a yellow booger blob with single toe hoof elephant foot things, but it looks like it's got toes outside of it. It's a little worrisome. Like, it looks like its feet are thumbs. Like, one thumb doing that is a Bayleaf foot. And that concerns me. I don't like that. I don't really like that. At number 16, our ninth lowest rank here, that's where I've got Quillava. I don't have a lot to say about Quillava. I'm not a big fan. Cyndaquil's okay, but its evolutionary line really gets less and less appealing to me over time. It's just an exploding looking mouse, gerbil, hamster, like some kind of rodent Pokemon that just gets more explodey over time, and it's just kind of dull. I don't know. It just doesn't really do anything for me. Bayleaf and Quillava wound up in what I called the boring class, where it's like, it's not like they do anything wrong. They just don't really do anything super right either. And that kind of defined where they wound up here. But as we go down to number 17, we now have what I call the awkward class. This is where Pokemon's designs make me feel uncomfortable in some way, or I feel sorry for them. And that's where we're going to wind up with our number 17, the 8th lowest, is Pignite. Pignite basically looks like a wrestler, not like a WWE wrestler, but like a high school wrestler. Like, I joined wrestling club, and I got this sweet brown unitard, and I couldn't wait to put it on. And it's the wrestler that was the short one and in the biggest weight class. I don't think I ever filled out a unitard quite this fully, though. It's just such a strange, it's such an odd little look to it. I can't look away after a certain point. It's just like, he looks cheery. He's having a good time. I'm not going to call him ugly. It's just like, I don't know what's happening here. And similarly, our number 18, the 7th from the bottom here, is Quilliden. I think it's Quilliden. It could be Quilladin. I think it's Quilliden. Who looks like he just got his wrestling uniform and couldn't figure out how to put it on. And, like, at least with Pignite is, a fire and I think fighting type, right? Fire and fighting, yeah. So that kind of makes sense to have this sort of wrestling attire. Quilliden doesn't. Quilliden is just grass type. It's like a chestnut Pokemon. And I guess you could make an argument that it looks like a green chestnut, kind of. But it just kind of, it looks like the kid from A Christmas Story. It wrapped up in his coat that keeps his arms stuck out to the sides, and he can't move, and it's just his face coming out of the parka, and he's just like, wee, snow, and that's it. I don't know what else to make of this guy. Little tyke. I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't really do it for me. I like Chestnut just fine. And I like Chespin as well. I don't know. This one just doesn't do it for me. Number 19, the 6th worst middle evolution design, in my opinion, is Thwacky, who just kind of looks like a guy. It just looks like a dude, little dude in a Green Man costume. He's angry, but it's just a little something in the it's so simple. And also the design they used had him doing the kind of knees out thing, which like makes me not feel so great. Everything about this is like just barely off-putting enough that I'm like, I don't really love this so much. I don't know what it is. Like, something about all of this is like just not quite, it doesn't feel Pokemon-ish to me. It doesn't really do it for me in that kind of way. So I'm not really feeling that one, you know. Okay, we've arrived at the Pokemon with a 2 in their rank. We're into the 20s now, and it's going to get less kind from here, because number 20, our 5th lowest middle evolution, is Drizzle. Drizzle just, I don't know what to make of this design. He just kind of looks a little gross Just a little gross, a little oily. He looks like he's wet all the time, which I mean a lot of water types can be, but like he just looks like he looks like me or any of my friends in high school if we decided not to take a shower for a day or two and then turned blue. It's not a very like you can do moody as a middle evolution and have it work. This doesn't work so much. This is just kind of like that's it, spitting water, not. Anyway, moving on. Okay, and the last one in our awkward class here, number 21, our fourth lowest. This one goes to Dartrix, and this one breaks my heart because I actually really like Rowlet and Decidueye a lot. I really, really like their designs. They are so good. And Dartrix is just the chaunciest looking Pokemon I've ever seen. He looks like he's named like Chauncey or I can't even think of names that are appropriate for this right now. I'm like blanking. Kyler or I don't know. No, that maybe that's not right. No, we're looking for like preppier names. Like I guess Kyle. There's a lot of Kyles that would work for. A Zachary, someone who goes by Zachary, not Zach, Zachary. One of those types. I did really good with this list of names. I feel proud of that. It was off the cuff. I don't know if anyone noticed. Yeah, Dartrix is like a preppy, dweeby looking dude, and it doesn't work for me at all. Maybe I've just got a thing against middle parts, and this is as someone who at one point in my life tried middle parts, and as you can see, I don't do middle parts anymore. I haven't done middle parts in a long time because it doesn't look good. It just it was big at a very specific point in the mid-90s, and then everyone went, wait, no, we did this wrong, and we never looked back. So Dartrix, you look silly. That's all I got for you. Okay, we are now into our bottom three. These were, I listed them as haunted class. And I bet you could probably guess which three are going to be in here. Maybe not what order, but I bet you have an idea which three are going to wind up here. So it ranked 22nd, third from the bottom, getting a bottle of bronzer as its award is, I'm going to pronounce it wrong because I've never known how to do this one, Brian. The ballerina seal. The Ballercilla. It doesn't matter. It's those eyes, man. The clown nose doesn't help, but the eyes are like spooky. I don't like that at all. If it had slightly more like standard Pokemon eyes and it didn't have the little mascara lashes and it didn't have the clown nose, we'd be having a very different conversation. But this thing creeps me out, and I'm not going to apologize for that. Next is our 23rd ranked middle evolution, getting a sterling silver spoon. I didn't think about that joke before I said it, so I hope everyone enjoyed that. I want to serve this one on a silver platter because our number 23 is Combuskin, who simultaneously looks like a weird chicken restaurant mascot and also basically just looks like a dick and balls. The legs are round and its body is just a big old tubey boy. It looks so silly and weird. It's impossible to take it seriously. Combuskin is just no. It's a cock and balls. I was going to say a cock and ball, but it's both balls because it's got the two like knee rounds. Do those have a name? Moving on to our final one in our special bottom 10 here. Number 24, the absolute worst middle evolution design that I think is bad. Aced that one. Good job. Number 24, getting the golden turd, is Marsh Stomp. Just look at it. Like, it looks like a basketball mascot for a college that doesn't have a basketball team anymore. Like this is the one that shows up to like volleyball games, chess club, math league tournaments, field day, and is probably the one walking around the halls with like a 4XL shirt that reminds people to get your flu shots, and that next Thursday is a pizza Thursday. Like that's what Marsh Stomp looks like. If you were going digging around the back of an old abandoned Chuck E. Cheese, you'd probably find a Marsh Stomp. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, why don't we go back to our top 4 now that we've taken this extremely long detour? Oh, thank God we made it. Okay, back at the top of the class, 3 and 4 I had a really hard time picking between, and even right now I'm still not entirely confident that I chose correctly. Correctly being subjective, correctly being how I feel about it right now. I could be very easily swayed to switch these right now, but my number 4 is Wartortle, and it's just a solid classical design. I was actually expecting going in that I was going to like Charmeleon the most, but Wartortle just does it nicely. It's just like a bigger, more serious turtle. The design is very simple. I'm not going to pretend it isn't, but it has these nice little accessories going on that I think kind of add to it in a nice way that do make it feel a little bit more distinct from Squirtle. The little tail swoosh, the ear feathers, they've really never gotten into what the deal with those are, I don't think. I want to say there are some underwater creatures that have something like that. They have like a little thing. It's mostly like it doesn't do stuff. Like it's not an active thing, but I think it's supposed to be like a passive thing or for attracting mates or whatever. But I am not a underwaterologist, so we're gonna keep moving on to our number 3, which is Ivysaur. Again, I had a really hard time picking between these two, but I think what's going on Ivysaur's back is distinctive enough that it does give it a little bit of an edge over Wartortle. I think it's a really cool, just sort of overall family, and you got the bulb, and then it becomes this like, rose-ish looking thing. Like, it's not supposed to be a rose, like a jungle plant that, has a similar look. And then Venusaur has the big opened up, huge plant with all the like massive kind of, not palm leaves, but like banana leaves, I guess. Ivysaur, I really like the design of. It's so simple. It's so classic. It gets the point across. It doesn't have to like go way out of its way. And I think it does a really good job. And now that Gen 1 is entirely in the bag, this is where we go, so what's left and how am I going to aggravate both the Gen 1ers and the new Geners at the same time? Stay tuned right now because I'm going to answer it right now. I said that part already. I was wondering going in if this was going to wind up being my number 1, and it wasn't. And if anyone's card counting, they're going to know who's number 1 after this immediately. So just give it a second. Just give it a second. My number 2 is Rabboot. Yeah, a lot of people didn't super like the Score Bunny kind of line of Pokemon here, but like I actually kind of dug it, and I think Rabboot's got a fun look to it that like not a lot of other Pokemon have, for better or for worse. I do kind of dig the little turtleneck, not turtleneck, but like there's jackets that have like a collar that goes up and you can kind of zipper it across. And the whole theme of this line is that it's supposed to be like a soccer playing rabbit. And I think this one does a really cool job. It's got a serious tone to it, but it's not like, it doesn't look like an asshole, and it doesn't look like it's trying too hard to be, serious or dour or whatever. It's a cool look, and I think the white with the red and black and the little yellow accents, it's a nice choice of color palettes. It's very distinct without looking like it's clashing super much, and I really like the design. I really like this one a lot. And those of you who have been keeping track of the ones that I've said already will already know what my number 1 is. This one surprised me a bit, but my number 1, I think the best starter Pokemon from a core series game based exclusively on the middle evolution design is Breaksin. I think this is such an excellently thought out design. You have a fox witch character. She's got a lot of like flowy, it's like flowy but also spiky at the same time. So it gives you kind of this like mixture of threatening and defensive, but also, just like a well-groomed wild animal kind of situation. The ear hair thing is a little interesting, and I keep going back and forth on whether I like that or not, because it does look like flames kind of coming out of her ears. But I think what really wins it for me is the tail, because the tail is just kind of good in general, but so she has a little magic wand that is a stick, and when she sticks the stick in her tail, it makes her tail look like a witch's broom, and I think that's such a subtle and cool little design choice that really endeared her to me. And yeah, I think Breaksin is just a solid design. I really wish that we got more designs that got this creative with it. Not necessarily like outlandish, but like find ways to reincorporate things into themselves. Like have stuff have 2 or 3 meanings to them. And I think you'll have some nice designs there. I think it'll be pretty good. So that's my list. I'll put it up on the screen again here. And while we're looking at these, I also kind of took stock of averages to see like, was there a certain, type of thing here that did better than others, between the elements. And if you look at the elements, you'll notice that fire looks skewed a little bit higher up the list and water looks skewed just a little bit lower down the list, whereas grass looks pretty well, split across the entire thing. The generations are less subtle. Like in all, the elements are all pretty tightly packed together in terms of like how well they spread across the whole thing. The generations not so much. So the highest average score rank, I guess, the highest average rank for generation wound up being Gen 1. I don't think anyone's surprised by that. I am old as fuck, and so I'm obviously going to be at least a little bit biased. And the average rank for Gen 1 starter middle evolutions was 5. So like that's the best that any of these did. Though a little bit further down the list, this one surprised me a bit more. Gen 4 had an average rank of 8.7, which is pretty good. Those are the only 2 that got better than a 10 in terms of their just averages, which is good news for Diamond and Pearl coming up. I guess not so much for Legends, since none of those starters are in Legends, but I digress. After that, it starts to filter down a bit. With an average rank of 11, we have Gen 6, as well as Fire type. Fire type had an average rank of 11 across the board, which is fitting. Breaksin is both of those things. It's cool that kind of lined up that way. After that, we have Gen 5, which averaged a rank of 12. The grass types averaged 12.6 for theirs, so like pretty close together. 12.5 is the average of the entire thing, so Gen 5 did a little bit better than average. Grass types did just the tiniest little fraction worse than the average, but pretty close. After that, we have Gen 8, the most recent generation, averaging 13.7. Water averaging 13.9. Gen 2 averaged a rank of 14. The Hisuian starters for Legends Arceus, I added that in there too, averaged 14.3. And then I think after that it drops off pretty quickly. I think we named, all the types that are in there. So the bottom 2, we have Gen 3, which had an average rank of 17.3 out of 24. Grovile did a lot of heavy lifting here because the 2 lowest ones, Combuskin and Marsh Stomp, are both Gen 3. If Grovile didn't wind up that high, this would have been like a tragically low average for these. But it's not the lowest average. The lowest average actually goes to Gen 7, where we have Torracat, Dartrix, and Brionne. Dartrix and Brionne being the 3rd and 4th lowest on the list, but Torracat did not do nearly as well as Grovile, so Gen 7 averaged an 18.3 out of 24. So yeah, there we go. There's all of my stuff. I gave you a little breakdown analysis of it in the end and everything. And that's my thoughts on these. I would love to hear what you guys' lists are. I would love to super ignore anybody that says I'm dumb for my opinions. You're welcome to come up with your own list for them, and we can chat about it, or other people can. I'm sure everyone's got their opinions on middle evolutions. Some of them are hideous. And the ones that are near the bottom of the list, I'm not feeling terribly charitable towards. So if you say that the best one is Marsh Stomp, I'm going to call you a doctor. That's all that I've got for this. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the D-List. Yeah, I've got another one that I'm actually working on right now that is going to be a little bit scripted. And by a little bit, I mean I'm going to like write a couple cheat sheet notes, little cheat sheet notes, so I have something like off the cuff to talk about without having to write it out all words style and stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like and to comment and to subscribe and share this with other people who might be interested. And I hope everyone enjoys Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be starting a new padlock of it on Monday, and I'm very excited. I think it's going to be a great time. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.